Off your gauntlet.
Hello there.
Was there a countdown? Wait. Okay, anyway. Hello, everyone. All right. So it
Hello there.
is
By the
live
way,
stream. Yes. What do we got?
I am Thanos now.
Okay. All right. We picked this up from the Lego store. Oh, this, we'll put it together. So we went to the Lego store yesterday and Keith bought the Infinity Gauntlet.
And I got
So,
VIP points for it. Let's go.
yeah, and that's what we're showing. So in case anybody who's not
What do you
watching.
think of my new head?
Right. Okay. He's got the hand. All right.
And
So
I got the
thank you.
stones. I gotta move my own
All
finger.
5 stones are here.
There's
But
6.
don't worry, we're going to talk about Star Wars very soon.
6 stones.
Okay. All right. There was a trailer.
Time soul mind power reality.
There was a trailer that just dropped maybe less than, what, 3 days ago? 5 days ago?
About a week, yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about
it. Changed the world forever.
Yes. Ahsoka is almost, it's a little over a month away. We are ready to talk about Ahsoka. All right. So we have the final official trailer. We're here to talk about it. That's what this subject is about. So thank you very much for joining us. We are Father Son Galaxy. I am Kerwin. This is Keith. Thank you all. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you're watching or listening, hey, come on, let's talk about it. All right. Let's see. Any questions or comments you have about the Ahsoka trailer? That's what we're here to talk about. All right. Let's start off with that narration, that voice that we hear, Baylan. All right. Baylan is a new character as far as we know, and he says war is inevitable. One must destroy in order to create. And we are no Jedi. Okay. They're not a Jedi.
Stab somebody.
Yeah, all right, yeah, and they go around and they're, taking people out. So
they're just like, they're taking names like, you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, that is the voice of the late Ray Stevenson. All right, so, but that's his voice. So he says he's referring to his partner Shin, are no Jedi. Well, what are they? Because they're not the Sith, because we know the Sith is gone. This is, after the fall of the Empire, but they're not a Jedi. So I'm wondering, what do they call themselves?
Dark side users.
Dark side users. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I was thinking, I'm going through reading the original trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy from back in the 90s, Heir to the Empire. And there was this moment in the book where Thrawn actually encounters a dark Jedi. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is, I expect maybe the filmmakers, the writers might be pulling some information, material from different books from Thrawn. This could be something that is inspiring them to create these two people who are not a Sith and not a Jedi, but are they considered a dark Jedi? I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. Yeah.
And so I was going to say something.
Okay. All right. So then we'll keep going. All right. So Shin and Baylan and the Magistrate. Remember the Magistrate from chapter 13 from Mandalorian season 2.
And he was looking for Thrawn too.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently the Magistrate, and the name is Morgan Elsbeth, works for Thrawn. Right. And if you recall from that episode, Ahsoka was looking for her. And then we had that cool battle scene at the end.
Oh yeah, with the staff and saber.
Yes, with the Beskar. Yeah, the Magistrate had the Beskar, and Ahsoka had the double lightsabers. And the last scene, the last moment that Ahsoka, the last words that Ahsoka said is, "Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?" So where is he? We don't know. So, okay. So we know that they're still looking for Thrawn. And also Shin and Baylan looking for Thrawn. So in terms of power, something that they want from Thrawn. So everyone's looking for Thrawn. And we do see him appear. So we don't know what exactly they need from Thrawn, whether they want to take power from him or they want him to be in power. But, we know that after the Emperor is gone, he's next in line. Right? Okay. All right. Who we also see? We see Hera on screen. All right.
Live action.
For
the first time.
Yeah.
She got name dropped in Rogue One, but we never saw her.
Yes. Right.
And this is also Chopper's first time in a feature role in live action. We saw him just kind of scroll past in Rogue One.
We see Chopper as well. Yeah. So absolutely. So Elizabeth.
We see Sabine. We also see Ezra. Okay. We saw Zeb in The Mandalorian.
So it looks like the gang
it's setting up to be somewhat of a Rebels reunion.
Yeah. In
a good way.
Yeah, I love Rebels, so I'm a big fan. I've watched the episodes, yes, over and over. Okay, so Elizabeth Winstead plays um, Hera. So there's this scene where Hera's having a conversation. I don't know if it's on the Ghost ship or maybe some other Rebel cruiser. And there's a hologram of Bon Mothma, and there are other government leaders, I would assume, that is listening to her. And Hera says something that was very interesting. She says that I spent most of my life fighting a war. That's why I'm trying to convince you to help me prevent another one. Now, this is very interesting. All right. Now, if you look at Mom Martha, if you look at her facial expressions, you can tell what she's thinking or how she feels.
She doesn't seem okay.
She is looking down as well from this trailer. She is looking down as Hera's talking because she knows Hera's telling the truth. But we got to remember what type of situation Mon Mothma is in at this point. All right. So at this time, after the fall of the Empire, we have this new republic. And, if you have read the book Bloodline by Claudia Gray, she talks a little bit about the new republic government. So
good book.
Mon Mothma is elected the first chancellor of the new republic. So I expect that she's in this position right now. But she's dealing with a government that's split, right? So you have two factions, right? You have one that's called the populace, right? And they are people who believe that individual planets should retain most or almost all of the authority. And then you have the centrists who are more in favor of a stronger galactic government and more powerful, a more powerful military. All right. So she's probably in a position, like the look that she gave was like, my hands are tied. I can't do anything because I got this side wants to do it this way. We got one side doing it this way.
Like I got Cobra breathing down my back.
Right. And
you want me to do?
Yeah. And no one is coming together and coming up with a solution. So I think that's going to be a problem. And we know that the New Republic, we've seen them function in the Mandalorian, and they're pretty new at this, and they don't always know what they're doing. So
they hire contractors to take their jobs.
Okay, yeah. So that's what's happening
because they can't do it.
Okay, all right. So let's go. All right,
Chopper.
Yes.
I would just like to say Chopper.
Okay, all right. So, all right. Let's move on to Sabine. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. She's on the planet Lothal. All right. Jump in here whenever you want to, Keith. All right. She is on the planet.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Okay. She is on the planet Lothal, right? We've seen Lothal, of course, in Rebels, and now we see a live action Lothal. What do you think of that? That looks pretty cool. And Sabine is standing at the same tower where Ezra stood, right? Just a few years ago. Right. And then you see, she's overlooking the city, the landscape, and then you see her.
That, like sand?
I'm sorry. Okay. She's looking at the landscape, and she's she's got a speeder bike, of course. And it's just like it might be Ahsoka that's probably trying to track her down. So according to this trailer, Ahsoka and Sabine had this master-apprentice relationship that might have gone sour. So apparently, Ahsoka is training Sabine to become a Jedi. Well, that's interesting because is Sabine Force sensitive? We'll talk about that some more. Let's go to Q&A.
What if it is the land on Lothal? That's the question I was asking. Like, is that sand?
It looked like a field. I thought it was a field, maybe.
Of wheat or like grass?
Yeah, I don't know. Grass, maybe? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Alex, I started watching Rebels recently, almost done with season 1. I know there will be spoilers, but I don't mind. Kind of know what happens to some characters. Hope all is well. Excited for your thoughts. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, the idea is that we are going to spoil what we know from Rebels, and we're not going to actually talk about all of Rebels right now, but maybe over time. between now and the start of the new series. Yeah, so we will talk about it. All right. So I asked the question, like, do you think Sabine is force sensitive?
No.
Yeah. There was never an impression, in the series and Rebels that she
never showed any force sensitive abilities over the 4 years we knew her.
True. Yeah. I think what it could be is we know Sabine is
lightsaber training.
Yes, she has had lightsaber training with the darksaber, right? So she
is by Kanan himself,
right? So
she's well versed in sabers.
Yeah,
so she learned from the hardest.
She knows how to defend herself. Yeah. So I think maybe that's what it is, that Ahsoka's trying to train her as far as in defense. Not necessarily because she has the Force, but that would be very interesting. I guess. Is it necessary to have the Force? I guess it depends on who you're fighting. I mean, if you're going up against someone with the Force, you don't have much of a chance to defeat them, which is very interesting. But we'll see what happens. So
remember, Shin was like in the trailer, you have no power.
Yeah, you have no power. So does that mean, is she trying to say to Sabine, you don't have the Force? You can't defeat me. You have no power. The power comes from the Force, right? That's where the Jedi gets his power, as we know. Right. So that's going to be interesting. And it looks like the lightsaber, she may have Ezra's lightsaber. Sabine?
And speaking of Ezra, she gets this hollow transmission from Ezra, and he's like, I know it's difficult. I know as a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can, but I'm counting on you to see this through.
Right. Okay.
But note that he said, as a Jedi.
Yes. So he knows something about her training. Now, the question I have is, when do you think that message was left for Sabine?
Because Ezra looks exactly like he did in season 4.
True,
He's
right.
wearing all his season 4 outfits.
Same uniform, yep, same haircut, short haircut. Alex, just again, to just give you a warning, in the final episode, I won't tell you everything about one of the things that Ezra did. He left a hologram message for his family on the Ghost Crew, right? The Hera and Zeb, and his message for Sabine was, "I'm counting on you." That's all he said. "I'm counting on you." And Sabine is like, "Well, counting on me to do what?" She didn't know. So now we have this message, like you just said, that, again, he says, "I'm counting on you,
to see this through."
Right, to see this
through.
So
I actually went back and I watched the hologram that Ezra sent to the Rebels crew to see if maybe this was a repeated transmission or if it was new. And it's not.
No, it's a new message. And I think it might have been something that was left personally for her, only for her to hear.
And see, I've heard this theory before. Maybe time works differently in hyperspace.
What does that mean?
I mean, like, do you age the same in hyperspace as you would in regular space?
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of like how your mass varies planet to planet. Like, on the moon, you're lighter than Earth, but if you are on Jupiter, because it's a bigger planet and therefore heavier with much more mass, you weigh much more because it has a stronger gravitational pull. So it's harder to lift yourself up off the ground.
Good. Very interesting. Okay, I hear what you're saying. So we don't know how long ago. Trying to talk about this.
It was like a year before the Battle of Yavin.
Try not to give it away. But if we're talking about spoilers, we don't know how long Ezra's been gone, right? Taken by the Purgles. So you're right. So we don't know if he has aged, wherever he is, if he's aged at all.
Because maybe that transmission was recent.
Yeah.
We don't know. Like, the fact that he managed to send through a hologram transmission from space, because something tells me Ezra didn't know he was going to have to take the Purgils, which weren't supposed to be there in the first place,
right,
and lightspeed jump with Thrawn on the ship.
Exactly. That wasn't something that he planned to do, and I think that was the best decision to make at the time. So that's why he left those messages real quick for all those the members of the crew.
I'm thinking that it was a transmission, but then again, Ezra was preparing to leave. I mean, I don't think he knew he was going to leave in that exact way.
Yeah.
but he did leave them he left them parting gifts.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and I think it's a great point. I'm actually rethinking now that you said it, that Ezra clearly mentioned that as a Jedi. So he's talking to her as a Jedi. Now,
which is like...
Yeah, but is she a Jedi? I mean, so
now I'm
how
thinking
much...
of context.
Yeah.
Maybe in that context, he's talking about the Sith. Like, as a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can in fighting the Sith. Like, in trying to defeat Baylan and Shin. I'm just going to call them Sith.
Yeah.
I know they're technically not Sith, but that's so much easier than calling them Dark Jedi because it's too many syllables for me.
Well, that makes sense because if you... Right.
Yeah, that would make sense because it's like Force user to Force user to Force user.
Yeah. Now I'm questioning what I was thinking. My thought was that maybe he left this message around the same time as he left the other messages for the rest of the crew members.
But that one was no idea that those Sith existed.
Well, right, because at the time, Ezra, the Empire was still in power, position of power. Ezra has no idea about the Empire falling and the Emperor perishing. So I can't tell you whether this message is actually current or was it something that he left before he was taken away. I mean, it's very interesting. Right. And then again, as a Jedi, maybe he's not referring to Sabine. Maybe he's referring to himself. Well, he's not a Jedi either, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, he is.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah. Kanan was a Jedi, and he trained Ezra in the ways of the Jedi.
Okay.
So that, by implication, makes Ezra a Jedi. I get that Kanan never really finished training.
Right.
He was training as a Jedi, so in that sense, he should be considered a Jedi, which means that when he trained Ezra, that would make him a Jedi. Now, training Sabine didn't make her a Jedi because they trained for like one episode. He never agreed to take her on as a Padawan or anything like that. Yeah. But with Ezra, he did because Ezra was Force sensitive.
Yes.
So, yeah, by standard definition, Ezra is a Jedi.
Okay. I understand that. No, that makes sense to me. I'm good with that. All right. So after Sabine hears this message from Ezra, it sounds like now she's getting ready for battle, right? So when we saw at the beginning of the trailer, she had long hair, and then now she was looking like this warrior. She's ready to fight, and she cuts off her hair, which which goes back to Kanan.
And of course, she's staring at her mask while she does it.
Right. She's staring at her helmet, right? Yeah. So she's ready for battle. All right, so that's very interesting. Now, in the notes here, you have that Ahsoka and Sabine are in a T6 shuttle used by a Jedi in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You want to say anything else about that?
So basically, the T6 shuttle is one of the Jedi ships that was piloted during the Clone Wars. It was pretty common back then. I believe Anakin used it once, but I just don't know where they got it.
Okay. Could have been a stolen ship?
Yes. Okay. Now, let's get to something that I have been theorizing about ever since yesterday when I watched the trailer in 0.25x speed.
Yes.
So we have a slide for this, actually. There's this scene where Ahsoka and Baylan are fighting. In the shot before it, Baylan looks absolutely terrified. And then Ahsoka brings her saber forward. And in that picture, it really does look like he just got stabbed.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So in the trailer, unless it's a dream sequence, but it looks like they're at that place we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, like that scene where the Magistrate created that map.
Yeah,
it looks like Stonehenge to me.
Exactly.
So
there's a battle going on, and it's between Baylan and Ahsoka, and then you can clearly see that it looks like Baylan is getting tired or he's losing the battle, and then you see Ahsoka's blade go right through him. So that's interesting. Like, I don't know.
Like, you cannot tell me that was not him getting it.
Yeah, that looks like a defeat right there. So I don't know if that was.
That looks like.
I don't think the people who put the trailer together made a mistake about that. I think it has to be a dream.
I don't think
You don't
so.
think so? Okay.
See, characters in Star Wars don't necessarily have dream sequences. Like the only
Good point. Yeah.
the closest thing to a dream sequence I could think of was when Lola was having that nightmare in Visions, and even then we didn't see her actually having a nightmare. We just saw her waking up from the nightmare, like like we never actually saw anybody having dreams or nightmares in Star Wars.
That's true. So I was actually going back to the Book of Boba Fett when Boba was in the back to
Did
tank.
that scene with Anakin count
Which scene?
in Return of the Jedi?
Scene with Anakin. Which one? In Return of the Jedi.
Not Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, well, yeah, when he's having nightmares about Padme in pain. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be a dream. That's a nightmare. Yeah.
All right, I get it. Now, Boba in the back to
But that looked a little distorted. I mean, you could tell that was
yeah, you could obviously tell.
This looks like it could be happening, but I just find it very interesting that you would see a scene with Ahsoka taking one of the main villains out.
And with Boba in the back to tank, none of the back to tank scenes were actually part of the trailer.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
As far as I can remember, we never saw the back to tank dream sequences. We saw the Tusken Raiders in the dream sequence, but you couldn't inherently tell that it was a dream sequence up until you saw the show.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. All right.
Like dream sequences, they're usually overtly dreams rather than them being cloaked dreams.
Okay. You ready to go to Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go Q&A. All right. Let's see. Can you blow up the screen a little bit bigger? I'm having trouble reading.
Yeah, I can't really see it. It's super small.
All right. Well then, Eric, to me, Dark Jedi is a bit of a contradiction. Being a Dark Jedi is the equivalent of being
a highly sinful priest.
Okay. Yeah, well, I see. I think I see your point, Eric. No, so
yeah,
you're right. So
being a Dark Jedi is very contradictory. Like, as an analogy, that's like saying.
Well, yeah. Well, if you think about what Eric is saying, like that's like saying I'm a priest, but I'm a dark priest, right? So I'm
like saying I'm a really awfully good cook. Like, if you make awful food, but cook is usually a definition of somebody who's good at cooking. Like, I'm an awful good cook, not awfully good cook, just awful good cook. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I'm an awfully good cook, as in I'm very good at cooking. But there's people who are awful good cooks.
Okay. All right.
Like, you're awful at being a good cook, which... See, I just made an analogy, and I have to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how these things move.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So, okay. But I think I get what Eric is saying. Like, okay, so if you're a priest, you are a servant.
How about I just snap?
You just want to start over?
How about I just
You want to disappear for 5 years?
Okay, bye.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, you're a servant for God, right? So you're supposed to be doing good things. So that's what God represents, being good, doing good things. So if you say you're a dark priest, okay, well,
imagine if you walk into a church, and then the priest says, "I'm a highly sinful priest."
That's a problem. I get it. All right.
With a bottle of alcohol in one hand.
Yes, very good, Keith. I get it. Yeah, that's not the person you want to follow. Any other Q&A? All right, so Alex says, laugh out loud. The dream theory reminds me of what I heard about how one season of the show Dallas was essentially erased and meant to be a dream to allow a dead character to be brought back. Alex, don't get me started on Dallas.
What happened?
I am a fan of Dallas. I mean, I watched Dallas when I was growing up.
Tell me what happened.
No, I know about that story. I'm going to get to it if you let me. Yeah. So no, Alice is exactly right. So there was a character named. All right. Side conversation. We'll get back to Star Wars. There was a character named Bobby Ewing. All right. So, the Dallas is about this rich family called the Ewings. They own an oil company. So,
they're not trustworthy.
Because
they're oil snakes.
Okay.
They are trustworthy.
Okay. So let me tell the story. So Bobby Ewing was one of the brothers of this, the heir to this oil company. The actor decided that he didn't want to go on playing the character anymore, so the producers decided to kill him off. Right. So he does die at the end of one season.
Let me guess, that sparked outrage.
Well, not outrage, but I think, after he died and then the season following was not very good. I think it dropped very low in the ratings. So they had to figure out, okay, well, we need to get Bobby Ewing back. What are we going to do? He's dead. So what are we going to do? So you know what they decided to do? They said, okay, that entire season when he died was just a dream. And they brought him back.
Dreaming?
His wife, Pam Ewing, was dreaming.
That sounds kind of dangerous. What was she doing? Where she dreamed that her husband died?
Yeah, well, it happens. Okay, that's the point of the story.
It happens.
The point of the story is, so the entire season doesn't exist. Is what we're saying.
You know what? I think I'm considering snapping now.
Okay, well,
snapping.
Maybe they should have snapped that idea 30 years ago. But thanks, Alice, for bringing that up. That was pretty good. All right. So, okay, so we see another character that's coming from the Clone Wars named Huang. Can you tell us about Huang?
So,
did I pronounce that right?
Huyang.
Huyang. Okay.
It's pronounced how it looks. So he is a 25,000-year-old. He's a 25,000-year-old droid. He doesn't look a day past 100.
25,000?
I do mean that. He was made in 25,020 BBY.
Good Lord. I mean, so he was at the dawn of the Jedi.
He was around literally before the Force was.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Like when people say you're ancient, that's not what they mean.
What else do we need to know about Huang?
So he's an architect droid professor who was on the Crucible, which is a Jedi vehicle, and he taught Jedi younglings.
Okay, all right. So
he told them how to construct their lightsabers.
Yeah, okay, that's the part I was getting at. Okay, all right. So what do you think? What
I'm thinking is, notice he's on the same ship as Hera, Sabine, and Ahsoka. So what my theory is that maybe Huyang was brought in to build Sabine a new lightsaber that she then uses in the fight with Shin later on in the show. Because Ahsoka's going to have to keep her signature white lightsabers.
Sure.
Because they're her nomenclature. That's what everybody knows Ahsoka with, the white lightsabers. If you saw her any color besides green or blue, you just wouldn't get it. So those lightsabers have to be kept. They're in all the promotional shots. They're in all the trailer shots where Ahsoka has lightsabers. But Sabine has a lightsaber. And I don't know if this is before or after they find Ezra. But in the event that it's before, Ezra had his lightsaber with him when he went into hyperspace. So that means she got a new green lightsaber.
So you don't think she's using Ezra's lightsaber? It might be her own?
That's my theory if it takes place before, because I don't know why else they would bring Huyang back.
Yeah, okay.
I'm literally surprised he's not scrap heaps by now. I like that droid. I think he's actually one of the best droids in Star Wars after CR-8R, C-3PO, R2-D2, BB-8.
Wow, okay.
And, ROGR is actually better than R2, I think.
Okay.
He's a battle droid for the Freemaker Adventures. Been around since before the Clone Wars.
Okay. Good. Okay. All right.
And then the time of the Last Jedi. He's still around past then.
Okay.
Works with the Resistance.
All right. Okay. All right. So now let's move on. So thank you for that. So we'll look forward to seeing Professor Huyang. All right. I had no idea he was that old. He looks pretty good for his age. All right. So let's talk about Ahsoka. There's a scene where Ahsoka and Sabine are running through a laser fire from an Imperial shuttle. Okay.
And I think it was an Imperial shuttle. I do not know what kind of ship that was, but it was firing on them.
Okay. And then something that Baylan said to Ahsoka about
Anakin spoke highly of you.
Right. So
and that was right before he got stabbed.
Well, right. Now, okay, so this is interesting. So he was a Jedi at some point because he knew Anakin. Um, Perhaps he walked away from the Jedi Order right before the Clone Wars, which is why he was not targeted. He got away. He wasn't one of the casualties of the Clone Wars, maybe.
Order 66 was grisly.
Well, yeah, sure, but or maybe I'm not going to say I don't know anything about Baylan. I don't think he'd be that cruel to pretend that he wasn't a Jedi so that he could survive.
See, and he's new.
Call himself, well, he does. We don't know what he calls himself, but he's not a Jedi. So I don't know. That's very interesting. So
if he's not a Jedi, by implication, he's not a Dark Jedi either.
Why not? Why would he not be a Dark Jedi?
Because he still has the title of Jedi. Like, if you aren't a Jedi, then you can't be a Dark Jedi either. Because for that to happen, that means you have to be Force sensitive and been a Jedi, and then became evil after that. Mm-hmm. Like how Anakin's a Dark Jedi in a sense.
Yeah.
Then he became a Sith when he became Vader. See, he was a classic Sith because he was trained by Emperor Palpatine, who was also a Sith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, things in the Clone Wars got really messy because Dooku took on Ventress, and then Grievous was there with Palpatine, and then Maul took on Savage, and then Savage got killed off, and then Maul fled, and then Ventress was never seen again, and Obi-Wan said, "Hello there," too many times for Grievous to bear. And then basically all of them are no longer in the picture or just aren't really part of Palpatine's life after, Order 66 and after A New Hope and stuff. So
now it's very interesting that these two characters, we got Shin and Baylan, they're two. Right?
Yeah. Did we see Baylan use the Force though?
Yes.
We saw them both.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and they both did. And by the way, so I don't know if anyone felt the same way, but there was that scene where Shin comes in and she looks like she's on the deck of a bridge. It looks like the bridge from a starship from Star Trek. I mean, something about the look of it. I know, but when she walked in, you saw the doors open, just like she was on a bridge of a starship. Like it didn't.
Trekkers.
Yeah, it didn't look like something I see in Star Wars, but you never know. There might be a new kind of ship. All right, but going back to Shin and Baylan, there's two of them, right? So do you think maybe they may try to bring back the Sith?
I think they might be trying to recreate the rule of two.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah, right.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Because they were. I mean, again, see what it bothered me because I don't know who exactly they are. Like, if you're not a Sith, you're not a Jedi, then what are you? What are you trying to do? What is your purpose? What are you looking for?
Maybe they're trying to reinstate Sith order.
Okay, so all right. Well, then, if that's the case, then yes. So they're not yet Sith, but they're trying to reinstate the Sith order. It's possible.
So if Snoke happened to be a malformed clone of Palpatine,
yeah, why are we talking about Snoke?
Because that would mean that in film theory, that Snoke is technically still a Sith because he is a clone of Emperor Palpatine, who was a Sith. And I'm pretty sure that the clone will have the same training as the original Palpatine. So that means that if Snoke was a Sith, then Kylo was a Sith. But since Palpatine was alive the whole time, that means that technically the Sith Order could have been reinstated up until he became one with the Force.
Yeah.
Which means there could technically still be out there.
I think.
Although I don't know if you'd really want to be trained by good old no peoples.
Yeah, I think we're probably making it more complicated than it really is.
I don't know. I think I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah, so Snoke never identified as a Sith. I don't think he identified as anything. Again, that.
I think Snoke identified as a man in a gold robe who never gets up.
So
Thanos.
What about Thanos? What are we
Thanos
talking about
sat in
there?
the chair for 6 years
Okay,
wearing
this
this
got
old
nothing to do
outfit.
with Star Wars. Let's just stay on the topic of Star Wars. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Again, we'll find out exactly who these two people are, but it bothers me.
We'll
I
get
don't know.
more information later.
We don't know who they are. All right, and then I think the final scene is we see this Inquisitor.
With what looks like a cracked lightsaber, because
Yeah.
I'm seeing some little red fragments in the
Okay.
hilt. I don't know if that's a design choice or if that's like cracks. It's just kind of a callback to what show? What the Ahsoka book?
Yes, the Ahsoka novel.
Yeah, the Ahsoka novel
Mhm.
with that scene on Raida where she encounters the sixth brother
Correct. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
who is swiftly dispatched.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah, very good point. Right. The last time that she had an encounter with the Inquisitor was back at Rada, like you said, sixth brother. So it looks like they're bringing the Inquisitors back. Like, well, who else is left?
Yeah.
Maybe this is it could be.
All of the Inquisitors are out of the picture. Like the fifth brother and the seventh sister. And I think there was a fifth brother.
Yeah,
I think he was the fourth brother, actually. The other one.
Well, I think we might have gone through.
The one with the other double-bladed lightsaber who kept jumping around. And the second sister, she was dispatched in Fallen Order. Actually, a lot of Inquisitors were dispatched in Fallen Order.
Yeah, well, true. Right, yeah.
And then the only other Inquisitor there is the Grand Inquisitor, but he was out of the picture at the end of season 1
of Rebels
before all the others got off.
Yeah. So
we don't have any other Sith yet.
Yeah,
we don't have any more Inquisitors left, except Reva, but I don't think she's gonna be an Inquisitor anymore.
I agree.
I think she's gonna be a Dark Jedi.
I don't think she would be a Dark Jedi. I think, well,
I don't know. She's not entirely light side yet, but she's less leaning towards Sith tendencies. So I don't know. I guess she's kind of a gray Force user.
Yeah,
not really a Jedi, not really a Sith.
Well, it's not Reva because that's just not her character. That is not where the direction of her character is going at the end of.
Yeah, this is 20 years after.
Right, and this is a few years later. So it's absolutely not Reva. But
it'd be outrageous if this was Reva.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know who this Inquisitor
that's the only Inquisitor that's left.
But again, like we think, the Inquisitors are gone. Maybe there weren't. This might be the 12th brother, the 15th sister. How many are there out there? We don't know, right? It could be the 25th sister. We don't know. We'll find out. But
we have the 501st brother.
Yeah, right. So anyway,
the 212th sister. Like, how many of them are there? We never really knew.
All right.
I kid you not, if this man introduces himself like, I am the 14th brother, or like, I am the 15th sister, I'm just going to be like...
All right, let's go to Q&A. All right, so Eric says, I think Hayden will be de-aged again. Well, you know what? I guess he would have to be. Yeah, because it's
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, well, no. I'm glad you mentioned that, Eric. I meant to say that. We know that Hayden Christensen is going to be in Ahsoka, right?
Yeah, I was about to say he isn't going to be in a major role, though.
No, of course not. No, he's going to be a Force Ghost. Yeah.
I mean, they are definitely going to have to de-age him because, well, not necessarily, actually. Not inherently. Like, if they want to keep with the appearance that Anakin had after Return of the Jedi, then yes, they might have to de-age him. But Hayden Christensen, like right now, looks just the same as he did 15 years ago. Not exactly, but you get my point.
Yeah, I
try to be nice here.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
please come on our show, Hayden.
I would say, yeah, they may have to de-age him. It's not necessary, but it would be helpful if they did that. Okay.
Yeah, because it would really sell the picture.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Now, like.
Okay.
Another thing.
Yes. As we see if we have any more comments.
What would Anakin be there as a Force ghost to do? Like, what would he say to Ahsoka that would set us in a pivotal role? Or would he pull a Qui-Gon and appear at the very end when nobody needed him anymore?
No, that's not going to happen.
What? Yeah, because I felt like Qui-Gon was kind of fan service at the end of Obi-Wan. Like, he didn't really serve a point. Obi-Wan had been calling on this man since the first episode all the way until the last one. And then Qui-Gon comes in 6 episodes later like, hello there.
Well, look.
You need me? And everyone's like, no! I already solved the mystery! I already won this day! Why are you here?
Well, it's not about fan service. This is not fan service that we saw him at the end. It was just
it felt like it did
not.
I don't want to say lackluster, but it just felt like Liam Neeson and Qui-Gon weren't used to their full potential in the show.
Yeah, I think he was placed in a poor position. It was poorly placed to see the appearance of Qui-Gon. We didn't need him at the end. We needed him when Obi-Wan needed him.
Yeah,
right?
We needed him after or before he got dragged through fire by Obi-Wan.
Yeah, all right. So we'll get back to Ahsoka shortly.
Let's just take a minute to talk about the plot armor that these characters have. I kid you not. Literally, almost everyone in the Skywalker family line has lost a hand in lightsaber combat. Anakin did, and then Luke did. Like, how is this happening? Luke literally fell down a reactor shaft and managed to hang on to a weather vane for like 10 minutes and somehow survived that. Obi-Wan got dragged through a pit of fire and still survived. Anakin got doused in the pit of fire. He became a two-piece of fried chicken.
Let's talk about Dallas. let's go back and talk about Bobby.
Plot armor these people have.
All right. No, all right. So
let's talk about the main character of this episode.
Now,
Ahsoka.
Right. So, okay, the question was, what is, and that's a very good question. What is Anakin and Ahsoka going to talk about? Well, there's a couple of things. One, the last time Ahsoka saw Anakin alive, right, was right before he left to the Chancellor Palpatine, right? So I'm sure
right in the middle of the season.
Right, exactly. So she was not around when he left, and she doesn't know what happened when he turned, exactly how he turned. Maybe she may have questions about why it didn't happen. And then the other question is that we now know that that Baylan knows Anakin. So Ahsoka probably want to know, so who is this Baylan? How can I defeat him? I think that's the question for Anakin.
I think that would actually be great. Like maybe Anakin would be like, Baylan used to be one of my sparring opponents back in the day.
Yeah.
Always full of bravado. But his hair is his one weakness. Go for the hair. Shave him bald.
All right.
Like, I don't know.
So as we wrap up.
As I wrap up.
So I want to throw out some questions here as we go back and we'll take a look at our Q&A. So I want to know, we're going to play this game called Who Will We See? All right, there's the theme song. Who will we see? So I want to throw some questions out there to you who are watching or will be listening or watching later. Who will we see? Will we see Captain Rex? What do you think?
I'd say yes. Like, come on. Ahsoka and Captain Rex are inseparable. In every media that we've seen Ahsoka, we've seen Captain Rex. Even in the novel, we got a flashback of Ahsoka and Captain Rex working together.
Yeah.
Like, Clone Wars, they were there. Rebels, they were there. And I think it's only making sense that in this show, they would be there together.
I like that. Okay.
I do know that, after the Clone Wars, they split up and found each other again at Rebels, which is why when Rex showed up in the Bad Batch, we didn't see Ahsoka with him. But every time we've seen Ahsoka, we've seen Rex. So
I agree with you. I think we are going to see Rex at some point because you're right. Where Ahsoka goes, Rex goes. So going back to fan service, I think that would be it would serve the story. It would make sense to see him. It's not necessary, but well, it has to be played by Tamir Morrison, right? Because he's a clone. So he's going to have to look like he's Boba Fett. He's going to be Rex. He's going to be Captain Hook, whoever. So he's going to be playing all the clones because they look alike. So
he would be 32 because the Clone Wars began in 19 BBY.
If I see Bobby, you and Alex, I'm turning my TV off.
Yeah, so
I don't want to see Bobby Ewing in Ahsoka.
So the Clone Wars began in 19 BBY.
Yeah.
And then...
What are we talking about?
I'm talking about the history of the clones. So they were born in 32 BBY, but the Clone Wars took place in 19 BBY, and I think the Book of Boba Fett took place like 2 ABY or something. Some obscure time in between then. So Boba Fett's like 30, but the clones are 30, but they look to age about 2 to 3 times faster than a normal human. Because at 11, they're fully grown adults who are trained and ready to fight. And when we saw Captain Rex in Rebels, we know that he's pulled his back at least once already.
Oh, wow.
We know he's pulled his back at least once already.
You leave Captain Rex alone. He's lived
when we see him in Ahsoka, life. He'll have a cane. And it'll be an assistant.
He's retired.
Captain Rex was
okay. All right, let's move on. All right, so let me know what do you think? Will we see Captain Rex? All right.
He'll be about 80 to 90 by human standards,
will we see
human aging processes.
Alexander Callis? How about that?
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
I don't know, because I feel like he wasn't all that important of a character. Like, between seasons 2 to 3, or between seasons 1 to 4, Callis just kind of dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
And then in season 3, he started having more of a role. And then in season 4, he came back. He was a spy. He was working with the rebels. He was a main character. Or a main side character.
Yeah.
Or a side character.
Okay, all right. So
I don't know, but my point is.
So your answer is no. We will not see.
I'd be surprised if we did.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think it's a long shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Callis. Okay, all right. Let me know what you think, Alexander Callis. Will we see Jason Syndulla?
All right. So for context, Jason Syndulla is Kanan and Hera's son. I don't know when Hera's supposed to have time to raise her son, but I think if we're going to see Hera, we have to see Jason, because he was like, my God, what age was he in that flashback?
Well, good point.
Age
is important, right?
So I think he was about, I want to say 6 or 7, right there.
A little bit younger than that.
Maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, okay.
So he's about like kindergarten, first grade age.
Okay, so, well, that was. You're talking about what he is now, or what he was?
No, I'm talking about what he was in Rebels.
Rebels. Okay, gotcha.
And that was a flash forward, by the way.
Yes, true.
See, that was after everything that happened in season 4, after the farewells and all that. So this would have had to be.
So how old would you think Jason would be now during the time of this Ahsoka series? Like a teenager, right? I would guess.
Maybe like 10, 11.
I think he might be a little bit older. But okay.
Because
regardless.
In order for him to be 5 or 6, let's go with 5. I'm pretty sure Rebels ended.
So Rebels ended, I would say, a year before the Battle of Yavin, right? So if he was 5, we could say 6. And then 5 years after that is the Battle of Endor, right? So that puts him at 10. And then another 5 years after the Battle of Endor is where we're taking place in Ahsoka. So he's a teenager. He should be. So my question to you then is, well, 2 questions.
So it takes place 1 to 0 BBY.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah, right. You're correct.
Yeah, so
that would mean Ahsoka takes place What, like, is this 10 ABY?
It takes place, I believe, around the time of Mandalorian, which is taking place 5 to 6 years after Return of the Jedi.
So we're around 7 ABY.
Yes.
I'd say because 5 or 6 years, and they give the Mandalorian some breathing room.
Okay. All right. So I would expect that he's force sensitive, right? Because his father was force sensitive. And I wonder if he has been trained.
See.
And who would have trained him?
See, no one.
No one would have trained him?
Yeah, because the problem is.
What? The problem?
The only person who is available to train him would have been Ahsoka.
Yes.
Because Luke was with Grogu. And then after Grogu, he began training other Padawans. Mando's not force sensitive, but he was with Grogu, who is also force sensitive. And Ahsoka's with Sabine, like I said, so...
Well, Keith, remember this, that Padawans are trained at a very early age. So if Jason was trained, he would have been trained way before Grogu, right? Well, I mean, Luke would have trained him. Luke would have trained Grogu after the fact, right? So I'm thinking it's either Ahsoka or Luke who might have trained Jason Syndulla. I don't know. Let me know what you think, Jason Syndulla.
All right, so it's 12 ABY. That's what. Yeah. Okay. That's when Ahsoka takes place.
Okay, so that puts in at maybe 15, 17. So we're good. Okay. All right.
All right.
Will we see Luke Skywalker? Do you think we'll see Luke Skywalker?
It's a long shot.
It's a long shot. Okay. All right. Okay. Can I get my notes back? Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to finish up. Okay. So will we see Kanan Jarrus as a Force ghost? No.
I feel like having a double feature of Force Ghosts would be too much because in almost all media, excluding Rise of Skywalker, which is when we saw, Anakin, Luke, and Yoda, we've really only seen, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, we've really only seen one Force Ghost at a time, and it's usually a slow reveal towards the end of whatever piece of media they're appearing in. So I think having Kanan and Anakin appear would not make sense because we've already got it confirmed that Hayden Christensen is going to be returning.
True.
But what we don't have confirmed is that, Kanan is going to be coming back. We don't know that, so you can speculate, but I just don't think that it's going to be...
Not likely.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't think it's going to happen.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So how it works, correct me if I'm wrong, so it's to have a force connection, for one person to talk to the other person from beyond, both have to have force sensibilities, right?
Yeah. So, by the way, correction, it's probably 9 ABY. I don't know. I'm going off the wiki now. 9 ABY. Continue. Okay. I'm so sorry, Dad. Continue.
No, that's fine. So, Ezra has force sensibilities. Do you think at any point he would be able to speak to Kanan beyond? Would he ever? Because it's unfortunate, like you said, that Kanan never did complete. Well, I don't know if Kanan has the skills to speak, because he lost his master at a very early age.
Well, neither did Obi-Wan. Or Qui-Gon. They never...
But Yoda...
Qui-Gon did, but Obi-Wan
yes, but Yoda taught Obi-Wan how to speak to Qui-Gon, right? Now, again, Luke really didn't have anybody to teach him. Obi-Wan just appeared. So I don't know how that works, But anyway, regardless, I'm wondering...
Obi-Wan talking to Luke more than Luke talking to Obi-Wan. Yeah. Because Obi-Wan was always superior to give him guidance.
Yeah, but if Ezra is still around and, he wants to speak to his master, can he speak to his master?
Yeah, see, right. I think the problem with that is Ezra's actually very good at communicating. Like, one of his major strengths in Rebels was communicating with animals. Now, those communication skills with animals might transcend into the Force.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if Ezra has the strength to do that, especially because he's in hyperspace and he's tied up with Thrawn right now.
All right, that's a good point. Okay. All right, well, I think that covers it then, right? Okay, yeah. So we can't wait for the 2-episode premiere. Is on Wednesday, August the 23rd. Let's go through our final Q&A. Let's see what we got. All right, Eric said Jason will be there. I agree. We both agree, the three of us. We agree that Jason will show up.
Yeah.
If Callus is back, I want him with his man Zeb. Yeah. So it seems.
Remember at the end of Rebels when Zeb took Callus back to his home planet to meet all the other Zebs?
Yes. Yes.
All the other
his people. Yes, and we thought all of his people were wiped out, but that was not the case.
They're not. Remember that old lady, that old man we saw in season 2 of Rebels that the Rebels had to help escape?
Do you like my first order theory about the Inquisitors? I did not see your theory, so maybe we could look for that.
Oh yeah, he said the early First Order was hiring Inquisitors only. I think it's actually a pretty good theory. I'm just not sure if they have any Force-sensitive Sith out there. But there are definitely people that they could convince to become Inquisitors and join their side. Because there's people who obviously believe the cause. Lost Stars is a testament to that. Even people who are friends can be split onto different sides.
That's true. Yeah, very good. And then Alex says, this will probably not happen. What do you think of the chances that we'll see an adult Omega in Ahsoka or another show in the future? Well, definitely in the future.
Yes, one thing I'd like to know again is that Omega ages the same as Boba Fett.
Yes.
So Omega and Boba Fett are like the same age.
Yes.
Omega would still be alive during that time as long as nothing else happened. So a reunion is definitely somewhere in the purview of Omega's future.
So you're saying Omega and Boba are going to meet at some point?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Boba ages normal. He's an unaltered clone. That's correct.
They're both unaltered clones.
Yes, that's true.
Alpha and Omega.
Right. Okay. Alex's question is, do you think we'll see Omega and Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Okay. But we will
They don't have any ties to speak of. I mean, Omega and Hera have ties, but this show's about Ahsoka. So having a separate storyline where Hera brings in another separate character, it kind of wouldn't fit the show.
No, I hear you. Okay.
If this was a Rebel show, that would make sense. If this was a Hera show or a Chopper show, this would make sense. But because it's a Ahsoka show, and one of the main villains is Thrawn, and we're focusing on Ahsoka, Sabine, Hera. We have the villains, Shin and Baylan, and Morgan Elsbeth now. So we're not going to be focusing on other characters, bringing in more characters. I think we're going to be focusing on the characters we already have laid out, with maybe a few cameo appearances from Captain Rex, Anakin.
All right, and one last one, which I don't have here written here: Qui-Gon coming back as to Ben's character's arc. He had to overcome depression and self-hate to be a true hero Jedi. I hear what you're saying, Eric, and that's exactly how it was. That's how it played out in the series. I would have thought that Qui-Gon would have served a bigger purpose if he was helping Obi-Wan through what he was what he was.
I would have thought maybe Qui-Gon had a heart,
rather than waiting for Obi-Wan to just work it out by himself and then say, "Oh, you finally did it! Oh, congratulations!" and then come at the end. I just feel that was a little insulting.
I feel like that
Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan's been reaching out to you, especially as somebody, if you call me, you need help, Keith.
Yeah, and if I call you multiple times,
can you help me, Dad? And I'm going to let him figure it out. Dad, I need help. What are you going to do? No, Keith will figure it out. Dad, how do I get home? I don't know. Wait, where do I go? No, he'll find the right bus. He'll get.
My car's on fire,
he'll get an Uber. Don't worry about it.
Vader's driving through flames.
And then you pull up at the house. Oh, Keith, you made it! Congratulations, son.
Yeah. Or, you know what would be even funnier?
Yes.
Is if I'm just like, Dad, I need your help. Dad. Come on. Hey, come here. I know you hear me? You have a phone. Just call me. Yeah. And then a week later, when I finally figure it out, and you just walk across the park,
I finally listened to my voicemail like, "Oh, did you call me a week ago? Were you okay?"
And I'm like, "I'm still alive."
Yeah, right.
Apparently.
So that's the point I'm getting at. But hey, that's what the writers decided. Okay. One last who we will see, but what will we see? Will we see the world between worlds? Do you think that's something?
They gotta bring Kanan back at some point. I mean,
we're not bringing Kanan back.
They should.
No.
I don't know what
Ahsoka I take that back.
Thinking.
Let's not talk about the world between worlds.
What is my main quips?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know what?
The world between worlds is that somehow Ezra managed to bring Ahsoka back, but Ahsoka refused to give life to somebody else. Like, Ezra literally saved her, and she's like, "No, you can't save your master."
I'm sorry I brought this up. This is a controversial thing with Star Wars fans about this world between worlds.
Yeah, like the world between worlds, I was personally fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they brought Ahsoka back.
Sure.
Because I would have had a riot if Ahsoka stayed gone.
Yeah.
But they could have just not made Ahsoka go gone in the first place. And
we'll talk about that.
They could have also, let Ezra free Kanan.
Yeah. Eric says it's too much for the casual fans. Yeah. I think it's too, I don't know, cerebral. It's out there.
Yeah, something weird about the World Between Worlds is that Ezra went to save Ahsoka first, who he'd met for about one season, not his master, Kanan, who he had developed an emotional bond to for the past 4 seasons, up until he became fried chicken.
You want to read Alex's?
The fourth Wi-Fi wasn't working. Qui-Gon didn't hear any messages until the very end. Qui-Gon was busy telling someone else he had a very special set of skills and came back to Obi-Wan late.
There you go. See,
I guess he was opening a pickle jar for someone
kind of leader you are.
Set of skills. And then that pickle jar took him a year to open. And then he finally comes back to Obi-Wan and he's like,
all right. In the coming weeks, we'll talk about the world between worlds. I think it's very important to discuss. I love it. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah,
we'll talk
I don't think
more.
there was anything wrong with the world.
Well, but
I don't think there was anything major wrong with it.
Yeah, but we'll talk about the controversy surrounding that story arc in Rebels. But that's definitely something we should talk about because that might play a part in the series, the Ahsoka series. So we'll find out.
I really hope they bring Kanan back.
He may try to use the world between worlds to find Ezra. So I think it's a good idea to find out.
Okay, but if he uses the world between worlds to find Ezra, my understanding of the world between worlds is that it's a jump point to go back in time to save people. And notice the only things we saw in the world between worlds were people moments before they went bye-bye. Yeah. So...
Yes, true.
I mean, I don't know if that's of any relevance. Most of the voices we were hearing are of Jedi who went bye-bye, except for, like, Obi-Wan and Luke. Because, they were, at the time, still alive.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, like I said, I still think it's a topic that should be discussed. It's a very important conversation to have.
And if Ahsoka went back in time to use the world between worlds, like, let's say that it's not just people's bye-bye points, it's just people's entire lives. If you wanted to go and check different points in their life, you could do that. If Ahsoka brought back Ezra that way, there would literally be 2 Ezras in the canonical Star Wars universe. Because there's that one Ezra who's floating off in space, and there's the Ezra that Ahsoka brought from another time point. And I really do not want to see another Ezra time movie.
Okay.
I already saw one of those.
Oh, okay. Time travel. All right. So let's quit while we're ahead. Okay, so we have some announcements. So we will right up until the premiere of Ahsoka on August the 23rd. We're going to be talking about Ahsoka. So
Ahsoka's the best.
There's a lot to say about that character.
Her at the beginning.
Yeah. How about that, right? That's very interesting.
I find that amazing. I always thought Ahsoka was like the best in the Clone Wars.
I hear exactly what you're saying.
But once she got older, like seasons 4 and 5 hit hard. Like those
season 4 and 5 of the Clone Wars. Yes,
yeah, those
absolutely.
were the best seasons.
I agree.
And then, season 6 didn't make sense because it was like a bunch of different storylines with Jar Jar and Padme and Rush Clovis and Anakin.
But
Somehow.
then 7 came back and closed it.
What?
Season 7.
Yeah, season 7
right.
gave us the ending we all wanted.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
1, 4, 5, 7. Those are the ideal seasons.
Got it. Okay.
And the movie was good. The movie was great.
So we will be talking more about Ahsoka in the coming weeks, and we're going to talk about her journey from after the Clone Wars, right? So that is the Ahsoka novel. We're going to talk about Rebels, The Mandalorian, and the Book of Boba Fett. All right. So a lot to talk about there. And we're also going to discuss Thrawn. I mean, Thrawn is a very intriguing character. There's a lot to know and to learn about Thrawn. So we'll get into that as well. And we'll cover some other characters and other stories and our theories. We got opinions about certain things that, that's related to Ahsoka. We'll talk about that as well.
Opinions.
Yes. Okay. So as we wrap up a final Q&A, let's see what we have. Will we be having Ahsoka theories on Wednesdays or Sundays? Maybe I think Sundays. So we're going to continue.
Yeah, we're going to finish up. We're going to be reviewing the episodes on Wednesdays.
Well, no. What he's saying is that
we're going to be reviewing the Ahsoka episodes on Wednesday.
Yeah, but that's not the question.
So we'll do our theories Sunday because that's the day we have left.
Okay,
that's the point I was wrapping around to.
All right, so we got 2 more episodes left of Secret Invasion, right? Which we'll do those the next 2 Wednesdays. All right. So Alex, you can expect to see our discussion of Ahsoka happen on Sundays. But August, the time's going to change a little bit because, we're going to be going away, to these fan expos the first 2 weeks in August. So, I'm sure our producer is going to try to somehow fit in a live stream here or there. So, it's to be determined, but, you can.
Because our producer.
The best thing to do is just make sure you just have that announcement bell going so that whenever we make an announcement,
like that notification bell, so that you'll be told whenever we have a new episode.
Exactly. So that's the one. So we'll let you know.
So the show ends October 4th, I think.
But what are you talking about?
Ahsoka.
How many episodes are there?
8.
How do you know that?
Because the wiki says so.
8 episodes. Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Not 6, 8.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. All right. So
I wonder if they're doing a premiere.
Oh, we don't know. Okay. Let's go through this. All right. So. Okay.
If they did, it'd probably be 2 episodes.
Okay. All right. We're still at the race to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there.
Help us out, please.
I'm hoping that by the end of August, I was hoping the end of June.
Subscribe.
Get there. Okay. We got some episodes coming soon. We're going to bring back Storytime with Macia. We got some great books. Yes, some great books to talk about. And we got a Lego build that will be available.
Yes,
we don't know.
Sadly, the Infinity Gauntlet is not a Lego build, but I took pictures.
Yeah, we have another Lego build. So you'll
put that on my Instagram.
Yes, listen to. Has anyone caught the redemption of Jar Jar Binks? We've been talking about this series.
If you have seen the redemption of Jar Jar Binks, I will give you 10,000 Dogecoin.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but I'm glad
it's
you didn't
say... It's a joke. I am not giving you that.
I'm glad you didn't say $10,000 because we don't have that.
Okay. Yeah, that is multiple flights.
Okay.
Okay.
The Redemption of Jar Jar Binks, please listen to that wherever you get your podcast. It's fantastic, actually. It's actually a very, very good series. It's a 6-episode series. I think maybe 3 episodes are available. But what's nice about the Redemption of Jar Jar Binks, they actually the host is actually having interviews Ahmad Best. All right,
it's a good show.
Yeah, so it's
we'll put the link to it in our description, the Apple Podcast link and the Spotify link as well.
Right.
I'll put that in the description.
Yeah, so Dylan Marin is the host of this show. He interviews. It's very revealing. I was very surprised that he even got the opportunity to talk to Ahmed Best and to know firsthand what he Ahmad was going
By
through.
the way, Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency.
After the Phantom Menace, after the release of the Phantom Menace. It's very riveting. All right. So again, we're going to be in Boston August the 4th to the 6th. We'll be on the podcast stage at Fan Expo. And then the week after that, we'll be in Chicago from August the 10th to the 13th. So.
And that means we get to try Chicago deep dish pizza.
All right, can't wait. All right.
Finally.
And then we still have our article out on StarWars.com. It's a great article, not because it's about us, but it is a really well done article.
It's riveting.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. Okay. So if there is nothing else, Keith, as we wrap up with any final comments, where can people find us?
All right. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fathers of Galaxy, website fathersofgalaxy.com. We are a featured page on StarWars.com. Please check out our merch store, fathersofgalaxy.myspreadshop.com. We got lots of nice stuff. We have t-shirts, we have thermoses for the summer, so if you want to keep your water cold, just grab some Fathers of Galaxy wear and pour your ice cold water into our brand new thermoses.
Sounds good.
And wear a Fathers of Galaxy cap when you're outside playing games with your friends this summer.
Protect your head from the heat.
And protect your eyes, too.
We don't have any sunglasses yet, but maybe that.
No, we don't, but, the cap kind of covers your eyes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
We need your eyes to work so you can watch our show.
Exactly, yeah. Right. Okay.
Email us at kateyard@fathersofgalaxy.com. We have a Patreon page. We'd like to thank our 2 Patreon subs, Mr. John and our friends from Broaxia. So thank you for subscribing, guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
We acknowledge our Patreon subs in every video.
Yes, we will. Yes.
As long as they're subscribed.
Yes, exactly. So thank you, everyone. This was wonderful. Again, we are fans of Ahsoka. We love Ahsoka. We love Ahsoka. So, we can't wait to talk more about her. All right, then. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk about episode 5. We're getting close to the end. Secret Invasion, all right?
I'll be back with my gauntlet.
All right. So we'll bring the gauntlet back. All right. So then, everyone, until next time, take care. And we will see you again.
Next time it will be the Skrulls who rule the world.